All right, what's going on? We're live. It's Monday night. It is the day after, the night after the Ric Flair retirement match. That was here in Nashville, actually. It was actually wrestling weekend here in Nashville between all the events going on with SummerSlam and Ric Flair's retirement. And I guess there were some conventions going on and the Flair roast and everything. Um, I did not go to any of it. I like kind of stay away from the whole wrestling world for the most part anymore. But I just happened to see the last match. Naturally it was going to pop up on YouTube, so I got a chance to sit and watch it a little while ago, and I wanted to talk about the whole thing, and also turn it open to everybody else. If you want to come on and talk about it, just please, you can shoot me a direct message on Facebook. I'm going to also drop the link in the comments here below on Facebook if you want to come on. So, first off, let me say, this match was announced. I mean, I guess it was at least 3 months ago, maybe even longer. And there was no opponent announced for a long time. There was a lot of speculation. Um, at one point, it was, could it be Ricky Steamboat? Could it be Ricky Morton? There was a lot of things going around back and forth. Uh, and then there was some rumors of a tag match. And then they didn't really do a whole announcement of the match and setup, I guess, until about 2 weeks ago. And after watching the match, I'm guessing early on, maybe the plan was for it to be a singles match. But after watching it, I realized why they put together a tag match. Now, I don't know that for a fact. I'm just speculating on my own, again, after watching this. Yeah, so I know a lot of people, were discussing this naturally last night and today in the world of social media and Facebook. I didn't want to chime in and say anything until I got a chance to actually watch the match. So the matchup itself, Jarrett and Lethal against Flair and his son-in-law, I wasn't, excited about. The God's honest truth. To me, it was not going to be, in my eyes. I thought there'd maybe some older tie-ins again, with the Steamboat or Ricky Morton, but Steamboat went on record early on and said that no, he did not think it was a good idea, and he did not want to do that. I get it. I understand. Now there was the classic Flair retirement match, I guess, whatever it was, like 15 years ago now, with Shawn Michaels, which was, in my opinion, and I'm sure after watching last night, a lot of people agree, picture perfect. It was a great way to end one of the greatest careers in the world of professional wrestling. Great way to go out. But over the last few years, especially, Ric Flair's mystique, Ric Flair's prestige, Ric Flair's just being that person on top of the mountain. And then on top of that, having this huge health scare a couple years ago where the world almost lost Ric Flair. I guess that gave him, the idea to put this whole thing together. Understandable. I get it. And I also feel, I guess, I don't know if he's going on record and say, I guess he wasn't happy with the way he was out last time with WWE. I guess he was kind of forced into retirement. So he wanted to go out on his own accord, which, hey, that's cool. I get it. He deserves it. He's earned the right to do anything he's want in the wrestling business, pretty much. So they put this tag team match together. There was a great, just a whole great celebration, in my opinion, of his career leading up to it. A lot of Ric Flair talk, a lot of Ric Flair love, a lot of Ric Flair respect as well. So it led us to into the match last night, and actually even before we got into the match, even I honestly, before the match even happened, and then before I even seen anything, um, I was excited. I was excited, and I was looking forward to being able to not watch it live or whatever, but to see the replay of it. And until I saw a video clip come out from the other night. Now we've seen Flair and Jay Lethal in training the last few months. We've seen Flair in the gym itself working out. And honestly, for a guy 72, 73 years old, whatever he is, who almost died 2, 3 years ago, the guy, in my opinion, I think the guy looks phenomenal. He's been working his ass off to get ready for this match. So you got to give credit where credit's due. He pushed it to the limit and he worked his ass off. Again, Ric Flair, the best, the greatest who ever stepped in the square circle. Again, mad props, mad respect, mad love for Ric Flair. But then there was a video clip that came out, I guess it was Friday night, at one of these little shindig get-togethers here in Nashville, where it looked kind of like a convention of some sort. Ric Flair and Ricky Morton locked up, and for a couple quick seconds, and watching Flair get off the couch to get into the lockup, and the lockup itself, I was like, oh. I was a little concerned and a little worried. I was like, I really saw then Flair is showing his age. And you realize this is not going to be Ric Flair of even 15 years ago. So that opened my eyes a little bit, or actually I should say a lot of it. So then I got to sit and watch the match a little while ago, and the best way I can say it is I was really scared. Now, I felt like that match was almost like watching the final scene of the movie The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, because you could see even early on, Flair was he was gassed and sucking wind, and he was blown up bad, and that gave me a little concern because he really wasn't doing much. He was just doing some chops in the corner, some lockups, some little chain wrestling, and he couldn't do much. So as the match went on, for the last 5 minutes of the match, he basically was laying on the mat, and there was a video clip that started coming out this morning where he looked up at his son-in-law and said, "I was passed out." And you can basically see at one point he looks like he's dead on the mat, and it was a very, very scary situation. Did Ric Flair need to do last night? No, absolutely not. We know what Flair has done. We've all loved and enjoyed Ric Flair for many years, and he went out on a picture perfect note. Did last night kind of tarnish that? I feel now that it did. I understand what he was doing, and I understand why he did it, because I think it was more or less last night was all about Ric Flair for Ric Flair and nobody else. I think he wanted to prove he wanted to get in that ring one more time, especially after almost passing away a few years ago. So, like I said, it was just a very scary, scary thing that I witnessed and watched. And I am opening up. I have a couple people sitting here in the queue waiting to come on. So anybody who wants to come on and talk about Ric Flair's match last night, any aspect of it, I love seeing a lot of the boys in the audience. Mick Foley, Undertaker, Bret Hart. I know Bubba Ray Dudley was there. I seen pictures of him and Flair over the weekend. and there was a lot of the other guys. Um, so I thought that was a very, very nice touch. Um, but I would love to get, I know a lot of people on my friends list are wrestling fans or people in the wrestling business. So the floodgates are open. If you want to come on and let's talk. Like I said, I'm gonna drop this comment. You can shoot me a direct message to get the link, and I will give you that. That is on there as well. And our first guest up is Mr. Mike, who BAM, refresh my memories. I know we talked before on it was in your podcast, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it was the Belt Outcast podcast. I'm currently a part of BAM Beltomania. So shout out to them.
Nice. So, Mike, thanks for coming on. I know you're a huge wrestling fan. You guys have great discussions, and I remember having a ball on your guys' show because it was very, some of these shows I've gone on are a nightmare, but your guys is one of the favorites. So I would love to get your opinion on. Did you watch it live last night? I'm assuming.
I did not actually.
Okay.
I was on the phone with somebody who was watching it, so he kind of gave me the play-by-play. But I did watch it today.
Okay.
I watched the whole thing from entrance all the way to the end, to the speeches, and everything he did, and to a very cringeworthy moment in my mind, anyway, as being a belt mark and a wrestling mark, was him dropping the crew mine right on the ramp, and hearing it go bing as it bounced. I said, "Oh dear God, it's broke." Piece of history broke, but I'm trying to think of the words I want to use here. I've always respected Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
My earliest exposure to him was through the pro wrestling magazines, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Inside Wrestling, The Wrestler, all those things and stuff, because we didn't get TBS here until 1991. It was just, I'm not going to say a rural hick area, but kind of was a little bit. We just didn't get it. It wasn't part of our cable package. Then suddenly, bam, it was. There was WCW Saturday Night. There was Clash of Champions. I got to watch all this stuff. So I finally got to start watching him live. And through his time in the WWF, when he went in 91, back to WCW, to WWE in the early 2000s, the whole thing. And when interesting point brought up about the match with Shawn Michaels in 2008.
Okay.
For him, I mean, that was a great match. That was probably Flair's best match in years.
Mm-hmm.
And it had all the emotion. I mean, I even teared up a little when it was over, because it was over. Ric Flair, the legend, now was a legend. Now he truly passed into legendary status. When he went back to Impact, or not back, I should say, when he went first time to Impact a couple years later, I was like, oh, no, come on. Really? You're going to do this? And he was there for a few years. Then he seemed to be done after that. And I was like, okay, now he's finally done. When this match was announced, I thought to myself, wow, first of all, what another slap in the face to Shawn Michaels, who gave you a great match.
Okay.
Secondly, I was like, can he really go? It's 70 plus years old.
Mm-hmm.
Can he really do anything? And like you, I saw the videos, the training videos with Jay Lethal and in the gym. And even the promo that he did a few weeks ago where he got attacked by Lethal and Jeff Jarrett and Karen Jarrett in the parking lot. And, of course, he, got busted open. He's laying there. I was like, all right, he's animated. He's ready to go. This is
sure.
I didn't expect a masterpiece. I didn't expect Ric Flair to go into the turnbuckle, do the flip over and run along the ring. I didn't expect him to go up to the top rope. I didn't expect any of that. But I thought at the very least we'd get decent, basic match.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't be able to do basic moves. When Flair came out last night, and when he got in that ring, I was looking at him and I'm like, this is not the same guy that we saw leading up to the match. He's not the same guy. Something has happened here. And just to watch that match, and I mean, I didn't know until you said on here about that he actually said he passed out, that he told me that he passed out. And I'm
at the end of the match, he was looking up at his son-in-law. What is his name?
I know he was Andrade in WWE. Now I think he's Andrade El Idolo, if I'm correct, in AEW now. I believe, anyway.
Okay, well, his son-in-law. He looked up at his son-in-law.
The other one.
And he was like, I was passed. He was like something along the lines like, "Oh fuck, I was passed out." And you could see at one point he looked dead on the mat.
Oh yeah, I mean once he took that suplex from Jay Lethal, he was done. He never got up on his own really again. He had to either be helped up or pulled up, you know, and it was just the most heartbreaking moment I think for me was watching him on the mat, and Andrade had to come over and physically put the brass knuckles on his fingers because he couldn't do it himself.
Yeah,
and help him get up. And I'm like, oh boy, this is not good. I hate to say this. I know it's speculation at this point. I've heard a lot of rumors from last night into today that he may have been inebriated going into that match. That supposedly he was been drinking all week actually, pretty much.
Well, I mean, he's Flair. He drinks every day.
Well, I know.
He said that in an interview with TMZ or something that came out Friday, I think, that he does it the Ric Flair way, and he drinks every day.
And that's a shame because maybe we would have got the performance that we were kind of expecting from him, a better performance if maybe he was not drinking before that match. You know,
we have a great comment here, and I wish this person would come on air to talk. The one and only Mr. Harley Lewis. He looked like a jabroni in that onesie, all being walked around like Bernie Lomax, calling off the superplex, exposing the business and shit. Harley, if you can come on, I would love it.
I can't argue with any of that. I mean, you can't. I feel bad. I felt both horrified and sad at the same time when that was over. So I'm like, this is what you want to go out on. This is what you want to be remembered for now.
Yeah.
Because you will.
Yeah.
As much good as you did for decades, as many world championships as you won, as many secondary championships as you won, as many main event pay-per-views you've done, as much money as you made, as much as everything you've done, people now are going to be talking about this. It's always going to be there, and you can't take it away.
And honestly, like Harley said, though, I can't even believe they were going to try to go for a superplex. Like, when they put him up on there, I was like, oh, no.
I think he may have died if they did that. He may, at the very least, he probably would have popped the hip out. I mean, seriously, if he didn't actually die there in the ring.
Yeah. So, all right. So your overall opinion is basically bad move.
I feel bad for people. I mean, I did not watch the pay-per-view last night. So I didn't pay for it. I watched that match through other means. I'll just leave it at that. And you know, maybe the undercard was worth the money. I don't know. I've heard some of the matches were semi-decent, but with the main draw being Ric Flair's last match, I would have been upset if I had paid for that, honestly.
Yeah. Look, the thing is, I'll say this too before I get to our next guest. I think all the build-up and hoopla was very nostalgic, which that's what this whole thing was about. And that's, I mean, me being the person that truly loves that whole era of wrestling, for me, I was enjoying that part, and they really tried to bring back that whole nostalgic feel of those Crockett days of the 80s until it got into the ring.
Yeah, really. Before I go, let me just ask you one question. What do
Sure.
you think is going on with the belt there? When he came out, he was like having problems with that belt.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
it was weird. Like, he's like turning around and he's doing a spin, and then he's opening it, and then he's like pulling this stuff up, like, you know, pulling. I'm like, what exactly is going on?
Yeah. It just there was a whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. Do you know this? I mean, I know he did a speech afterwards at the end of the match or whatever, which I haven't even watched the whole speech yet. But has he said anything today? Has he put out any release or anything? I don't know.
I do know. I think he put out a tweet, something along the lines of, you know, it was a great night and he still got it or something like that. And woo, you know.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, no, you don't still got it. So just don't think that. Okay. Please.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Hey, well, at least he's still alive. So
he is.
That's the positive we can go with.
Yes. The one. The one.
Well, Mike, thanks for coming on, man. Great talking to you again. Anytime you guys want to talk and have me on again, just you know where to find me. Hit me up, and we'll do another one.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cool.
It was a pleasure and honor to be on.
Absolutely. Take care, man.
You too. Thank you.
Bye. All right. Our next guest is a person who I've known for 30 plus years, a very good personal friend of mine, as well as a person who I got into the wrestling business with and did many, many things in the wrestling business. You might know him as Santa Claus, but right now, he's Francis Namoli. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing, Bay?
Good, man.
So I watched the entire pay-per-view, and I did watch it live.
Okay.
And I got to say this. Anyone who was associated with that needs to hang their head in shame. They literally were, in my opinion, almost publicizing the death of a man. That was the outcome that I was kind of expecting. Not being morbidly, but just seeing the frailty of him.
Yeah.
And like, even when I was watching the training videos, I'm like, they can't be serious with this. You know, if they wanted to do something, maybe a tribute night to Ric Flair where he maybe just gets involved. But
so
putting him
the
in
tribute,
the
tribute videos are not the training videos. So you thought even then?
Oh yeah.
Really? See, I thought he looked pretty good. I was surprised.
Again, as being former wrestlers, you there's things you look for. And I was watching him taking the bump, and I watched him take one off the top rope.
Yeah.
He did. And it literally looked like the soul got sucked out of his body. Because when he landed and you seen the look on his face, and I'm like, what are they thinking? He's 70 years old.
Yeah.
There's no way that man should be taking any kind of bumps. I wrestled my last match at 50. I knew then that I had a lot of limitations. You were there for it. I did not try anything. And if they were going to go for something like that, maybe, but just because at first it was going to be him versus in a singles match. Then they realized he can't do a singles match. Then they tried to protect him in a tag match.
Yeah.
But at that point, someone should have said, you know what? Look, Rick, you can't do this, because at that age, any shock to the body he could have been paralyzed by just hitting the ropes.
Yeah.
And
even when he hit the ropes at one point early on at the beginning of the match, he didn't. I was like, oh no.
And he could have suffered whiplash. He could have dislocated so many joints. There was just no good outcome of this. And I didn't understand the point of this. And, if you want to get to the rest of the card, I don't know who produced the card, but it was, and that's actually what I was looking more forward to, was seeing the show itself. It was produced like a bad one-off indie show where the matches seemed rushed.
Okay.
There was just no meat to them.
Okay.
You had the Von Erichs versus the Briscoes, which I thought was going to be a decent little show. And they got out there, they kind of did their stuff, and it was almost like whoever set the show up set it up so that no one outshined the Flair match.
Right. Well,
and I get that, but at the same point, you also got to realize, the last time I seen something this cringeworthy is when they did that Legends of Wrestling where Jake the Snake came to the ring drunk. And this was just, it was horrible. I think his son-in-law, not the one he teamed with, the other one who was, I think had a lot to do with the production of it.
Okay.
Should like, are you serious? You're supposed to be looking. It's obvious the man can't make rational decisions at this point in his life, because I was listening to his podcast for a while, but then he just started going out there,
Okay.
It's obvious that he's losing it, and a lot of bumps to the head could do that. He's 70 years old.
Sure.
They got to take this into consideration. Someone should have been looking out for him. I mean, his daughter maybe should have just, with her notoriety, should have stepped up and said, no, this is not right, and he shouldn't do it.
Right.
And I mean, I'm surprised, like, and this is something that I'm.
And we lost Frank. And he's back. And he's gone. And where is he? I hear him. I hear you. There you go.
One thing that I think is overlooked, and I'd really love to know the answer to this. How much did the WWF or WWE have to do with this? Because one thing I find interesting, and no one kind of mentioned this, they used the name Jim Crockett Promotions.
Okay.
WWE owns that.
Okay.
Also, you have Jeff Jarrett, who is now an executive for the WWE, involved. So do you think they knew, because they had to give their blessing to use the Jim Crockett Promotions name and gimmick?
Okay.
And do you think that they knew, like, well, Flair will let you use it, but kind of keep us away, because let's face it, it could have ended tragically, and I don't think.
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know about the part of him blacking out. You never know, man. This some of them shocks and jolts he took, it could hit him a week later.
And honestly, like after seeing that video clip this morning when he was saying that he was passed out, and then after watching the match, especially, I was saying to myself, God forbid, it turns out like an Ultimate Warrior thing, like a day or two later, the poor guy has a heart attack and drops dead.
I mean, Bret Hart was in a lot better shape than he was. Took one shot to the head and had a stroke from it.
Right.
I just, to me, I just think it should have never happened. And I think anyone associated with it should really be ashamed of themselves. And I think his family should be ashamed of himself for not stepping in. Sometimes people are not cognizant of their limitations in life.
Right.
You should, like, hey man, I'm going to go skydiving. I expect you to tell me, no, you're too fat.
They got parachutes big enough.
There ain't no parachute holding me up, brother. but that's what I'm saying. Sometimes maybe, you need to stop someone from hurting themselves. And I really think that they should have did it. I didn't see anything positive in that match. I didn't see anything that showed me he belonged in it.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I saw him taking the bumps, I was cringing. I was like, oh, this guy's gonna kill himself. And it's a shame.
Did you see the video that had come out from I think it was like Friday night, him and Ricky Morton at that convention or whatever, where he got up off the couch and did that quick lockup? At that point, I was like, oh, we're in trouble.
Well, even if there was a video, and Fight TV still may have it on, if you hit the preview of it,
okay,
of him promoting the match,
okay,
and listen to his speech, he's not cognizant like the old Ric Flair. His words aren't flowing. He isn't the wordsmith. All he's doing, like, he's cursing, he's dropping F-bombs. Which,
really,
when have you heard? Oh yeah. It's actually, go on Fight TV and hit the preview for it, and they'll show it to you. And if I can get the link, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
And he was just dropping F-bombs, like, people didn't F, and I can still do this and F this and F that. And it's like, wow, man, I've never heard Flair curse and go off like that. And at that point, that's when I said, you know what, this guy is not in his right facilities, and this should have never happened. Thank goodness I'm hoping he's okay. If they didn't have him at a hospital today being checked out, they're idiots. because, like I said, there could be some neurological damage there. I'm not a doctor. I only play one on TV. But I kind of was ashamed for even watching it at that point, because I just felt like, what was I just a part of? I got caught up in the nostalgia. I was like, I had an undercard.
Sure.
And I kind of thought they were just going to do a gimmick where he just gets in at the end, bip, boom,
right,
1, 2, 3. And then when I seen what they were trying to do, I was like, oh, this is not going to end well.
Yeah.
And like your previous caller brought up, they had to put the knuckles on him.
Yeah.
And you've seen his handshake, and that's what scared me the most. I thought he was maybe having a stroke at that point.
Right.
And I was like, oh gosh. And then, when they just the whole look of him, and I said, we literally could have just watched the death of a man. And, society as a whole, I just think someone should have stepped in. I mean, that's my opinion. I didn't like it.
I truly think, and I said this at the beginning of the show, I truly think this was all just Ric Flair going out and wanting to be Ric Flair, and I don't think he gave a damn about anybody but himself in this.
The problem is he just can't accept that he's not that man anymore.
Yeah,
you guys said it earlier. When his match with Michaels, that was the perfect exit.
Sure.
That would have forever sealed your leg. Then, of course, a couple years later, he had to come back in TNA, and he was working matches, and they were looking so bad. And this was only a few years after the Michaels thing,
right?
And if you were looking bad then, now you've been in a coma, you've almost died, and now you're trying to make. Like I said, I honestly thought they were going to just have him stay out there and do one move. I didn't expect them to put him in and do what they did. And that superplex, I was like, what?
Yeah.
If that had went through, I truly believe it would have done permanent damage, if not killed him.
Yeah. Wow. So crazy. I really just can't believe, like you said, it's tough for Ric Flair. It's tough for any athlete, especially of that caliber. Look at Tom Brady, for instance. I mean, here's Tom Brady, who
can't go out until he goes out.
He went out for 10 minutes, and then he's like, "Yeah, I can't do it. I got to come back." It's tough to let go.
But you know what's going to happen? You know what happens though? But you got to look at it this way. And again, Flair had nothing left to prove at this point. Let's say Brady goes out there next year and gets hit like Theismann.
Right.
Now what?
Yeah.
Or you get a concussion that ruins the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Was it really worth it? You got to put the ego aside at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially somebody like Brady, even Flair, they have nothing to prove. They've proved it so much. It's the mental thing that it's hard to let go of the past.
I just think that Flair cannot accept the fact that he can't let it go, man. That's basically it. He just can't let it go. And unfortunately, between the drinking and the partying, you would think a near-death experience would open your eyes, but unfortunately, I think at some point we're just going to read about something tragic with him, and it's a shame to say it.
Now, something else I thought of, and you were part of the scene in Philly at the time, was when the Nature Boy Buddy Rogers was going to wrestle Nature Boy Buddy Landel when Buddy Rogers was the same age. I think he was 71, 72 years old at the time. And it never happened. I wonder if we kind of saw almost what would have happened, if the Buddy Rogers match happened.
Well, if you remember, they were doing training videos with Buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And Buddy looked in a hell of a lot better shape. Yeah. And Buddy Landel knew what he was getting into. Unfortunately, since the match never happened, we don't know what the outcome was.
Right.
And again, just not since that never went off, we can never really compare the two.
Right.
But at that point, I think Rogers was in great shape.
Yeah.
And he was specifically training with Landau. And, both you and I knew Buddy Landau. He knew how to work an old style that would have complemented him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we've seen Dory Funk work into his late 50s, 60s, and as long as you followed his lead, whereas Flair didn't understand that. Hey man, I'm 60 years old. No, I'm going to work like you're working. I can't. Nobody can work Jay Lethal.
Right.
Half the kids today can't even keep up with Jay Lethal, and you at 70 think you're going to keep up with him? Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, it's the end of an era again. Hopefully, Flair is okay, and he can just stick to doing hip hop videos and stuff like that, and woo, we're good.
Well, what I'd like to see Mr. Flair do is wake up today, look up at that beautiful sky, be thankful that he woke up today, and start treating the rest of his life as a present. Because, living a lifestyle like that, and it's never going to end well. And you're kind of throwing away your gifts. There's so much people can learn from him still.
Oh yeah,
if he'd let them. But drinking and partying with Hulk Hogan is not going to be the way.
Well, thank you for coming on, Santa Claus. I hope you're doing well. I love you, bro. I miss you.
Always, when you look like this, every day is Christmas.
That's it. And hey, we have our good friend Hub here. The body gets old, but the mind still thinks it's young. An Indian proverb.
Well, that's true, but at some point, man, the mind can think it's young, but as I'm going to figure out as soon as I try to step out of this car, I know damn well that body is going to be like, "Yeah, screw you, mind. You don't know what the hell you're talking about."
Oh man! All right, well, dude, go have a good night. Thanks for coming on. And
All right, my pleasure, my friend. Take care of yourself.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. I guess that's it. I guess nobody else wanted to come on. Thanks for my two guests coming on and chiming in with their opinions. Yeah, it was interesting. Like I said, I hope Ric Flair is hope he's in good shape. Hope he's healthy. Thank you, Rick. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for attempting to go out there and do it one more time. I have mad respect for you for trying. But hey, every idea you have is not always going to be the best one. This probably wasn't the best idea, but many things in your career were. So thank you for all those. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Feel free to leave the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And maybe we'll do this more. We'll pick a topic and have an open discussion. Let everybody come on, hang out, talk, and share your thoughts. Until the next one, we'll probably be back this week with another show. Have a great night, everybody, and see ya.